Hello. Okay, tonight we are going to be tying my first fly for the channel. It's also the first fly I ever learnt to tie, so I suppose it's a fitting beginning. I'm trying to cater for the beginners out there. So we're going to start with a fairly simple pattern known as the Daiwl Bach. It's going to be a slight variant. There's that many different variants out there. You can do pretty much what you want with this fly, if I'm absolutely honest with you. So we're going to go with a fibre that is quite difficult to find, and it turns out that it is quite difficult to find in my collection here as well. Here we are. Mandarin flank. Hopefully you can see that. Beautiful feathers. Absolutely stunning they are. Now the reason I've got a supply of this sort of feathers is because my sister is a member of a shoot in Montgomery. She beats for them. And some of the guns are quite kind enough to basically let her have whatever bird she wants, and luckily I'm the recipient of the feathers. I've had all sorts of weird and wonderful feathers which are very difficult to find anywhere. These being some Mandarin duck. I've got almost an unlimited supply of pheasant. All sorts of different breeds of pheasant, blue top, melanistic or black. I think blue top is an amelanistic type. I'm not 100%. I'm not an expert on that at all. So I've got quite a big collection of stuff. I like to use stuff that I've shot as well, because I actually hunt. I've got another channel where I hunt, so I use the skins for fly tying. Rabbit, squirrel. I use pigeon feathers quite a lot actually. Wood pigeon. You don't see many patterns with that. I find a pigeon primary is very good for making a blue winged olive wing or a Greenwell's glory wing. So yeah, there we are. A bit of a tip for you. Sometimes you'll find them just lying around on the ground. You don't need to shoot the poor things. So there we go. So I suppose we should get started. So we're going to use, I'm going to do a hothead version of it. It's the first time I've tied this pattern in this way myself, to be fair. I thought I'd just do it for the video. We're going to use chartreuse uni thread, 72 denier, 8/0. Very fine thread. And we're going to use an unusual hook choice. I like a longer body in my nymphs than the traditional wet fly hook can do. I use it's not an extra long shank hook, but it's got a bit of extra length to it, as you can see on the camera. This is a Camazan B830. Now I use Camazan hooks almost exclusively. I even use certain Camazan trout hooks for carp flies as well. But on the whole, it's pretty much Camazan all the way. And as you can see, it's a nice length of hook, especially in the size 14 for a nymph. So some people start at the eye. I like to start about 1 mil from the eye, maybe 1.5 mil, and then I'll come all the way up, close turns, trying not to catch the point of the hook, which is a real beginner mistake. Probably about in between the barb and the point, about where the bend starts. Now I'm going to come in with my scissors. Now I want to have a chat with you about my scissors. There's quite a few things I need to have a chat with you about in my first video. These, you can pay £30–40 for a pair of fly tying scissors on the fishing websites. These are actually a pair of cuticle scissors from Amazon, and they were £3.69 delivered next day. They're extremely sharp, extremely fine, and they are the ideal tool for the job. And if you blunt them on the night, by the next night you can have ordered a new pair for less than the cost of a coffee, and they'll be on your doorstep. So, you know, you can't really go wrong, can you, there? So we're going to try these Mandarin. I've got some here that I've already sort of peeled. I like a big bunch. Trying to keep them together so that they're all the same length is extremely difficult, and it's something I haven't mastered. So I do quite like a large bunch of them, because once they get wet, they've disappeared out of nothing. So you want the tail to be about 3/4 of the length of the body. It's not quite a full length of the body. Now, there's a little trick you can do, which I've learnt off one of my peers. You can bring a turn underneath like that, and then bring it over again, and that will flare the tail out. Then we're going to come in with some red holographic tinsel. Now, this is another variant, I suppose. The natural chironomid that this is meant to look like, sort of, despite the tail. And chironomids haven't really got a tail, or a buzzer as is known to everybody else. Actually have like an orangey red rib. So I find a red holographic tinsel is very good at imitating that, so I like to use that. Another loose turn, tie that in. As one of my peers would say, nice and tight. I'm sure you know what I'm on about. And then we come, you cut it to the length of the body, so you get a nice even profile on the shank of the hook. Again, doesn't have to be close turns, just so long as it's even. So we've got plenty of room to finish off the fly towards the eye. As a beginner, one of the things that you'll find is you'll over tie things and you'll end up with no room up by the eye, and especially with Camazan hooks, because the eyes are absolutely tiny. You'll find that that's a problem as well. So we're just going to tidy up, ready for the Peacock Herl. Now, this particular fly uses 2 strands of Peacock Herl. I've just took delivery of this from China. It's pre-peeled. I don't have to worry about it, and it does seem quite good quality, if I'm honest. And it was only a few pounds. It took a few weeks to come, but I'm surprised it got through customs, if I'm honest. So I didn't think you was allowed to import animal products, but there we are. It's here. Mr. Customs man didn't see it coming. So they're very, very long fibres, really nice quality. I'm sure you could get the same quality on a fishing website, but so we're going to go with the thick end because they're a very, very weak fibre. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few outtakes with this video where you'll probably see me break one. So again, loose turn, tie it down on top of the hook, and then tie it in. Again, doesn't have to be close turns, just so long as it's got an even profile. It is, so long as you're fairly careful, it is actually a very simple fly to do, this is. Then you grab your 2 strands. You don't want it too bushy. It's supposed to represent a chironomid or a small nymph. It's actually a very versatile pattern. It can mimic quite a few different things. And then you want to wind it round. Some people can do it the opposite way to the thread. That's up to you. I find this is fine for me. I don't really want the tinsel to show, as it were, which is a reason why you'd do that. And go up as far as you dare, probably a mil from the eye. Drop it in behind 3 times. 3 times seems to be the key. That really is quite nice, that is. I'm quite pleased with that. That's really nice Peacock Herl. We'll save that for the next one. Then we're going to get our rib. And you want to do quite a lot of turns. Even turns, but fairly close together. That's 5, 6, and then tie it in. And you come in with your good scissors. I normally have 2 pairs of scissors, you probably just noticed. These are the official fly tying scissors. These are made by a company called Stillwater. They're fairly cheap, about £4. But the tip isn't nowhere near as fine. I've actually filed this down to try and get it finer. And they're still the equivalent of a shotgun compared to a rifle when it comes to that. There we go. Right, so we're going to tidy the head up a little bit. Go down to the eye, come back up again. There we go. Don't want to do it too much. Again, you can really over tie these flies. Now we're going to take advantage of my rotary vice, which again is a very cheap vice. In fact, you probably noticed I've modified the jaws. They actually came to a point, and what I was finding was that the point where the metal's very thin was starting to do that. So I just filed the point off, and then because I filed it, it looked a mess. I took the paint off as well, so it looks a bit better now. And it does work. It's a rotary one. I've also got a little magnet here. Well, 2 magnets to be precise. And I'll show you what I need, what I use that for. Sometimes, say faffing about with a hackle pliers or whatever to hold one out to dry, you can just bang it on there to dry. So when you've varnished it. There we are, that's looking pretty good at the moment. So what we want to do is take advantage of our rotary vice and turn the fly upside down. Get some more Mandarin fibres. I've actually took the tip of the feather out, which can help. You need a bit of, you need the extra stiffness for this. Lay it down on what would be the top of the hook when it's upside down, and just drop it in there. So that looks about right to me lengthwise. Some people like it longer, as in to the point of the hook. In fact, I think we'll try and do that, see if it looks better like that. The great thing about fly tying is if you're not happy, you can always go back and do it again. Yeah, I think that looks better. Yeah, we'll go with that. Drop an extra turn in just for luck, for the wife and kids. Come in with the good scissors so you get a nice clean cut, and off it comes. Turn it back over, go to the eye, tie yourself a nice head. You want this head to stand out when it's varnished, so it is a little bit big. It's a bit like using a hothead bead, as it were, but a bit more subtle. Then I don't use a whip finish tool. I have never been able to whip finish. I have spoilt many a brilliant pattern. I've tied something absolutely beautiful to the point where it would go in a glass case, gone to get the whip finish tool, and the whole thing's fell apart. So I prefer, because I lack confidence, to do a half hitch, and I use a tool to do that. I've never really found a need for a dubbing needle, but this is what I use a dubbing needle for, not for dubbing. So you make yourself a loop, you keep it tight, you get your dubbing needle like that, and you guide it in. Pull the needle away. Very efficient way of doing a half hitch. Now, one half hitch is not enough. Again, I do 3 for luck. The first one can come undone. If the second one comes undone, you're extremely unlucky, but it is known to happen. And if the last one comes undone, well, it was never meant to be. And there we are. That's what we call a Daiwl Bach, or little devil in Welsh. So finishing touches, a little bit of varnish. Now again, you can spend a lot of money on varnishes, fly tying varnishes. At the end of the day, they're all the same thing. I'm actually a pharmacy, well not pharmacy, sorry, a pharmacy technician by trade, and chemicals are my thing. If you look at the varnish that you buy for fly tying and look at your basic clear nail varnish, they're exactly the same thing. And I buy this one from Poundland. You can pay 7-8 quid for a nail varnish, to be fair, especially where I work. But at Poundland, time to shine. I think it actually has a purple lid now, so be careful when you're looking for it. They've just changed the packaging. And then what I do is with a craft knife, I actually cut the brush down. So it's about the same width as the average head of a fly. And there we are. That is the Daiwl Bach. Or should I say the Mandarin Daiwl Bach. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed.